2026 has begun. And could it be the year Manuel Ugarte leaves Manchester United? Could Ruben Amorim be leaving this year? Or could it be a year of ups for Manchester United? Ruben Amorim finds some good form, Manchester United get Champions League football, a good summer window, and we could be back on track. Let's hope the positive side of things. It looks like Zirkzee will leave in 2026, whether that's in January, whether that's in summer, who knows. But I think he's pretty much gone. But there is talk of Mateta coming in to replace Zirkzee in the January window. Man United's January transfer plans have maybe taken a change, and Jeremy Jackett is now being looked at centre-back, although I feel like that centre-back situation will happen in the summer. Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup show. In today's video, we'll be rounding up all the latest Manchester United news into 10 minutes for you guys. All the news, all the transfer news, and more. I do apologise I didn't do a live stream early today. The honest truth was I had a very late New Year's Eve, and I am very, very ill today. But I am doing my best to get the news out, and we will be back live tomorrow morning as usual. So let's start with Ugarte. So apparently Ugarte has been convinced to join Galatasaray and leave Man United. There's reports coming out that Ugarte has pretty much said to Galatasaray he'd like to join, pretty much agreed to leave Galatasaray, and is now open to leaving Manchester United. Now, are these coming from good sources of information? I don't know. I don't know with Turkish media, because sometimes they get things right and sometimes there's a lot of waffle. Like this time last year, it was said that Osimhen deal was done. It wasn't done. There's a lot of nonsense that comes out in the media. 30 to Man United was done. Osimhen to Man United was done. And it turned out those deals were not done. So, look, has Ugarte said yes to joining Galatasaray? Has Ugarte agreed to go to Galatasaray? I don't know. What I do know is Ugarte has communicated that he's open to leaving Manchester United in January. He wants more minutes. We know that Ugarte isn't super happy. He's open to more minutes. I do know there was conversations about Ugarte going on loan to Nice, but Ugarte did not want that, actually, weirdly. Would he reject Nice to go to Galatasaray? Maybe. I think he'd surely rather play in a top 5 league. Nice, but then Galatasaray are just a big club, and look, Turkish league, it's not one of the big 5 leagues, but I think it's a special league in terms of the fan base in that. So obviously there's been reports for a while that Galatasaray are in for Ugarte, Galatasaray had talks for Ugarte, but it's not come out from like any top journalist. But we know there's been rumours of Ugarte and Galatasaray for a while. Ugarte apparently has now been convinced to go to Galatasaray. So originally there was talks. Originally Ugarte was open to leaving Man United, but now it looks like Ugarte has actually been convinced to go to Galatasaray, whereas in the past he was talking to other clubs, apparently, or his agent was talking to other clubs, and Nice wanted him, but he was like, oh, I don't know if I want Nice. So it looks like Ugarte pretty much accepted it's time to leave and pretty much agrees that it's time to leave Man United. But I don't think he'll be allowed to leave in the January window unless a replacement is found. I think with Bruno's injury, with Maino wanting a loan, Ugarte wanting a loan, I think only one of Maino and Ugarte would go, and I think that would only happen if the midfielder comes in. Can United get Conor Gallagher on loan? Maybe, but I wouldn't want to get him on a permanent. There's talk of Keith Smith. There's talk of Manu Kone, which could be more interesting. There's talk of pushing for Baleba to see if we can get that deal done in January because he's not happy at Brighton. Who knows? But I think Ugarte will leave in 2026. I think Zirkzee will leave in 2026. I just can't tell if it's January. Now, talking of a manager that's already left in 2026, the first manager department of 2026, Enzo Maresca. Now, Enzo Maresca would be keen on a move to Manchester United should a vacancy arrive, is the first thing coming out. Now, there was actually a report that came out 2 days ago, not from the most credible source, so I ignored it, that basically INEOS were actually eyeing and keeping an eye on a few managers in case they needed to replace Ruben Amorim. Now, I think Enzo Maresca would go on that list. Enzo Maresca, I know he's not had the most amazing season at Chelsea this year, and he's a little bit stubborn as a manager, but he's won 2 trophies. He took a Chelsea side that was very unstable to 4th last year, won 2 trophies, and it's just had a little bit of poor form. He had a bit of poor form this time last year, Maresca. He turned it around and got 4th. So I think with like Maresca, it's not top of my list, but I think he's a good manager, and I think considering what he had to work with at Chelsea, I think he did quite a good job for the most part. It's very different to Ruben Amorim, and I don't know how it would work at United with our squad, but I'm sure United are looking at him. But I will say, Maresca apparently has pretty much agreed to be Pep's replacement, apparently. So I don't think he's going to say yes to any jobs if he knows that Pep's going to go in the summer and he's going to replace Pep, because there's a strong chance that Pep leaves. But apparently he would be keen on a move to United. And I want your thoughts down below. Would you be keen on Maresca? Now, ideally, hopefully Amorim turns it around. We go and win our next few games in a row, and we won't be having conversations about new managers in 2-3 months' time. Because the best case scenario for me is someone who doesn't particularly like Amorim is that Amorim turns it around, proves me wrong, and we win games. Because I'm actually just fed up with this cycle of sacking managers. I'm so fed up with it that I really want Amorim to work. I really want Amorim to turn it around. Amorim's stubbornness makes me feel like he won't be able to turn it around, which is why I've said maybe we need to look at alternatives. But let's hope that, Amorim's not going to be sacked in the next month or so. So let's hope the next month or so is full of good results and we can actually get a good finish, a good season ahead. But if we do get bad results, I'm sure Maresca will be on that list among other names because the manager market isn't great. Another reason I really want Amorim to succeed is one, because I'm a Man United fan, but two, because the manager market isn't great out there. This sacking manager cycle and then bringing in another manager, it's a bit like, who do we bring in? Maybe Cesc Fabregas if we can get him in the summer. Maybe McKenna. I think they're probably the better options out there, if Amorim was to go. But I really hope 2026 is a good year for United. I really hope that we can turn things around. I think if Amorim's willing to adapt, he could change his fortunes at Man United. I think if he's willing to adapt, we could have a good season. But who knows? But Maresca also is very stubborn like Amorim. I will say that. But I don't think he should have been sacked by Chelsea. I think Chelsea's biggest problem was the ownership, not Enzo Maresca, who for the most part had done a good job, but definitely wasn't perfect. Let's talk about Zirkzee. Roma are interested, but United will not sanction a straight loan. An obligation to buy a permanent deal would change United's January plans. Now, apparently, they've offered us a loan with an obligation to buy Zirkzee under certain conditions. And apparently United are considering that, but I think that maybe they want certain conditions to be more sure. If United feel they can get a permanent exit for Zirkzee, apparently we would be willing to let him go in the January window, but we are waiting till after AFCON. Zirkzee has agreed personal terms with Roma. Zirkzee already has some agreements with Roma, but United aren't going to let anything happen until Ahmad and Mbuma are back from AFCON, until Bruno's back, which is fair, because I don't like to speak badly of academy players, but Jack Fletcher filling in for Zirkzee, I didn't know Jack Fletcher was on the pitch. But to be fair, Ruben Amorim asked the centre mid to play right wing when he had Shea Lacey on the bench. I still do not get why Shea Lacey is not coming on. I don't get why Shea Lacey is the academy player that's not coming on when he's probably the best out of all the academy players on the bench. Who knows? Continuing on. Any United incomings in January are likely to be dictated by outgoings. United have no interest in loaning out unless there's commitment to buy after the loan. I think potentially Zirkzee could go, an attacker could come in. There's talk of United wanting to replace Zirkzee with a left winger as we move towards a 4-3-3 rather than an out-and-out striker. I think potentially if Maino goes, a midfielder comes in, or if we bring a midfielder in, Maino or Ugarte could be allowed to go. I don't see a midfielder going unless one comes in. I don't know if we're going to bring a midfielder in, but I think we should do everything we can to bring a midfielder in because Liverpool are dropping points, Chelsea are dropping points, everyone around us is dropping points. We've got a really good chance to get top four because this is the worst the Premier League's ever been. So I think we should spend in January and do what we can to bring in a centre mid and maybe bring in a left winger if possible, but centre mid, definitely the priority there. But I think Zirkzee going means we could look to bring in somebody, and that somebody could be Mateta. United have long-term interest in Mateta, obviously linked to him in the summer. Although the club are not actively looking to sign a new striker, if one becomes available in the window, they might give him a serious look. If he's available, they might give him a look in. But Mateta's not been great this season. He had a good patch at the start of the season. It's been crap for a bit, just score. But actually, other than just scoring today, I don't think Mateta's been in great form. He's not signing a new deal at Palace. Things are sort of going wrong at Palace. They keep selling their best players. Glasner's going to go. I think Mateta wants to leave Palace. I think as an experienced striker to come in alongside Sesko, I'm not against it. I think Mateta under 30 million, I'd do it. 30 million, I'd do it because he's experienced and proven. But he's been a bit crap this season. The last 5-6 games, he's been a bit crap. He's one of those guys where he has a good 3 months and a crap 3 months and a good 3 months and a crap 3 months. And I think he's a confidence player and a momentum player. And I don't know if United, we create enough chances for him to get that confidence and momentum. Last but not least, on other transfer stories, United are monitoring Jeremy Jackett. United are keen but unlikely to move in January. He could be one to watch if other clubs make a move. I don't see us making a move for a centre-back in January, but I think in the summer we will be looking at another centre-back for depth, and I think he's a good young player, plays alongside Euro at youth level, and I'm open to it. My sort of mindset is, for me, in the summer, I want Elliot Anderson and another midfielder, whether that's Baleba, Wharton, Kone, I don't really care. I want maybe 2 big midfielders, Elliot Anderson, Wharton, so 2 big midfielders. A third midfielder like João Gomes just for depth, or Ruben Neves just for depth. I'd like a left winger like Njai. I think an experienced striker would be nice. A left back would be nice. And then a centre back like Jeremy Jackett. I'm not going to complain too much about. I think he is one for the future. But listen, people, that is your 10-minute roundup. That's all your latest Manchester United news in 10 minutes. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.